So you see this a lot in college sports, where a really good coach leaves and they give a coordinator the job at a big program, and he's just not ready. He's a coordinator. He's a 2, not a 1. You see this all the time in college sports. The difference is, we don't pay attention to some random college team. The Boston Celtics are a big brand. This is national TV. And their coach isn't ready. Don't blame the players. These same players were great last year. It's the coach. It happens. He's over his head. And he's going up against probably the best coach in basketball every other night on national TV. It's like the Celtics are this elegant, talented, 5-star restaurant, and the chef has butchered the meal on national TV, and people are streaming out of it across the street to a food truck. The Miami Heat with no frills, paper plates, and for $8, you get the best sandwich in town. It makes the Heat so redeemable and so easy to love because they're everything Boston isn't. Underdogs, untouted, tough, fighters, relentless, and it's playing out on television. Night after night after night. It's the coach. And then you combine Joe Mazzulla, probably a great guy, but he's not ready for the gig. He's a kid. And you combine him with this relentless Heat team and the coach and the weird Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum end-of-game vibe. And then you combine that with Jaylen Brown's hand, which is hurt, obviously, because now he's 2 for 20 on threes. And it's just the perfect storm to be an absolute mess. And again, remember during the Boston-Atlanta series, J-Mac and I would come on the air and we're like, Quinn Snyder got the job in late February, trying to build a culture in March. In April, he's in the playoffs, and they took the Celtics 6 in the last 4 games. They were scoring like 130, 120. And we're like, how's Atlanta scoring these many points? It was the coach of Boston, Joe Mazzulla. He's over his skis. Same dudes last year mostly were tough and feisty, confrontational, trapping, adjustments. They sought out matchups. This team's just not, they hired a coordinator. He's not ready for the Bama job or the Oklahoma job. He's not ready for the Carolina basketball job. He's not ready. But we're watching this thing play out on TV, and he's not ready. And the chef butchered the meal. It's bad. And, as I look at this, it's interesting with Jason Tatum. So Tatum's a guy that's got some self-doubt, the opposite of Butler, who has 0. So Tatum has had very strong coaches in his career. Mike Krzyzewski, Brad Stevens, Ime Udoka. Strong coaches. And they have elevated Tatum, infused confidence in Tatum. These are really high-end coaches. So Tatum now, who's got really an assistant coach pretending to be a head coach, I mean, they offered him the job. He took it. And Tatum is shrinking. Do you know he hasn't hit a shot in the fourth quarter, a field goal, in the series, in the fourth quarter? And he was first-team All-NBA. And this was the year, this was what makes it really difficult for Boston. These title windows shrink fast. This was the year. The Heat knocked out the Milwaukee Bucks. The Sixers stars imploded. The Warriors are in a rebuild year. This was the year. This was the year. LeBron's too old. And now you've got a major question on your hands. Uh-oh. Tatum and Brown qualify for the max extension. $613 million. What are you going to do now? My takeaway is you can't blame the players. It happens. Great organizations. You can go to the history of the best college basketball and football programs. They whiff on coaches. USC football's done it a couple of times. Carolina basketball's done it. Notre Dame football once hired a high school football coach from Ohio. It happens. He's a kid. They gave him the gig. They got trapped. The other coach was really good. He got in trouble. They had to get rid of him. You can blame the players all you want. I do think they need to tweak the offense. They got enough defensive guys. Their defense is fine. They'll get the right coach. The defense will be fine. But you got to move off the coach. You can't move off all the players. You're not moving off Tatum. You're not going to move off all these players. So Joe Mazzulla, to his credit, was at least accountable afterwards.
I just didn't have him ready to play. I should have, whatever it was, whether it was the starting lineup, whether it was an adjustment, I have to get them in a better place, ready to play, and that's on me.
All I'm hearing from Denver Nugget fans. All I'm hearing, oh, the disrespect. Nobody respects us. They have a 3-0 series lead in the Lakers. Listen, it's not disrespectful to respect history. There's a history in the NBA. When you get these young, really talented teams that look like they could win a championship. KD and Westbrook in OKC. Harden in his prime with the Rockets. Lob City, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Chris Paul. These Celtics, the early 2000 Sacramento Kings, and you got a nothing burger. Because these young teams, they get in, like the Celtics last year, in their prime, and here come the old heads, Draymond and Steph Curry, and they knock them down a peg. And so when the Denver Nuggets are rising and ascending with young stars, it's okay for us to go, well, I don't know. Let's see what they're like on the big stage. Now, they've been very good on the big stage, but we didn't know. They remind me of the Milwaukee Bucks. Remember, pre-title, you had this MVP unique big in Giannis, a wing player in Chris Middleton, a good and unknown coach. You had no history of greatness. You had to go back to the 70s. Denver didn't have any history of greatness and titles. So everybody's like, what are they going to look like when you put the old heads on the floor, when you put LeBron James on the floor? You know what they've looked like? Great. Unlike Nash's Suns and the KD Westbrook Thunder, Harden's Rockets, these Celtics, they have risen and they are starring. But it's not disrespectful to respect NBA history. There have been steps for decades. I've been watching it since the 70s. You're good, then you're really good, then you get to a championship in the conference and lose, or you get to the finals and the old heads knock you back a peg or two. These guys are young, ascending. Michael Porter, Jamal Murray, and Jokic are all in their prime and all getting better. And the Lakers, LeBron looks really old, AD's an old 30, and Austin Reeves is what Austin Reeves is. They rose. They didn't shrink. But it's okay because we've watched all sorts of teams shrink. We watched that Game 7 after the refs took away Game 6, right? Against the Lakers, Game 7, the Kings had a chance to win it and stunk the joint up. It was right there for them, and they stunk it up. KD and Westbrook got to a finals. Couldn't get it done. Lob City, fun to watch. Not fun in the postseason. These Celtics hired the wrong coach. Regress backwards. It's not disrespectful. We just didn't know if the young guys would step to the table. You got Jamal Murray on a heater. Jokic, like Giannis, is hard to defend and elevating others at a historic level. And Michael Porter had injuries. He was a great high school, college talent, but we kind of waited for Michael Porter for years. He was like this AAU kid. You're like, oh, he's going to be great. He got hurt. And now, he totally understands his role in the team. Now Michael Porter's finally arrived. So it's Michael Porter into his prime and Murray into his prime. Hey, Murray had a big injury, remember? A lot of people bailed on him. He went to the coaching staff at Denver and said, are you going to bail on me? He's now ascending in his prime, and Jokic is ascending. I mean, this isn't even a great Jokic series by his career numbers, and that's what you're watching. Old LeBron, an old 30-year-old AD, and Austin Reeves is what he is. But it's okay because NBA history, this situation, these Denver Nuggets, we've seen them wilt under these lights dozens and dozens of times. And this team's got no wilt in them. They got none. And it's great to see. I'll tell you this, I can't wait for a Nuggets Heat final. It won't rate in terms of TV ratings. My takeaway is Denver's going to be a handful size-wise for anybody, but you're going up against the best coach in the world right now, Eric Spoelstra. Spo has just unraveled Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics. So, J-Mac, it's been fun. It's Denver. Listen, you can say what you want about Denver. You and I love basketball.
Yeah.
We've seen this spot, and we've seen teams like Denver with ascending stars, and you're like, we're asking ourselves this morning, are the Celtics ever going to win one?